Our solar system is a finely balanced cosmic machine, and each planet contributes significantly to maintaining its gravitational stability. Imagine the planets being in harmony with one another. Their orbits coincided in a delicate yet complex dance. However, what would happen if a true shooting star or other interstellar object passed by our solar neighborhood and changed the orbit of only one planet? Prepare to discover what would happen to the solar system and Earth if Neptune's orbit were altered by a passing star. Find out about the potentially devastating impact of the massive cosmic objects that are directly aimed at our solar system. Logo: scientists are always investigating the solar system and building models with various scenarios. For example, they might predict what would happen if a planet were to abruptly vanish from the system, or more likely, what would happen if a massive interstellar object, like a passing star, were to suddenly enter the solar system. You cannot even begin to imagine the issues it would cause, even if it avoided a direct collision with one of the planets. Our solar system's planets move in a disorderly manner by design. That implies that even the slightest modification to the system's starting conditions, for example, a shift in a planet's orbit, would have disastrously divergent effects. Differences as tiny as 1 part in a trillion are under discussion. According to one of those scenarios that has recently made headlines, if a passing star were to alter the orbit of icy Neptune by just 0.1%, it would cause chaos and cause all the other planets in the solar system to either collide or simply fly off into deep space. While some experts claim that there is no probability of such an event occurring, others contend that stellar flybys of this kind are rather regular in the cosmos. If it occurred in our solar system, 2 distinct outcomes are likely to occur if Mercury and Jupiter's perihelion, the point on their orbits when they are closest to the Sun, fall into synchrony. There are 3 possible outcomes for Mercury: it might hit the Sun, Venus, or Earth, or it could be yanked out of its orbit and explode outside the solar system. Mercury's fast spin, which continuously defies the Sun's gravitational force, is what prevents the planet from colliding with it. In order to be assured of what would occur, researchers performed almost 3,000 runs of the stellar flyby simulation. Out of the 2,000 simulations, 26 resulted in planets colliding or the outer planets, like Neptune and Uranus, being flung entirely out of the solar system. This implies that the Earth might strike these planets in collision or that the Earth might just end up floating far from the Sun in space. To put it mildly, the scenario would be cataclysmic in any case. There would be nowhere to flee or hide if Mercury were to be abruptly thrown towards Earth. Everyone would be aware that terrible things were about to happen as Mercury became larger and larger in our sky. By the time Mercury entered the Moon's orbit, those negative things would start to occur. The tides on Earth would be 8 to 10 times greater than they are presently due to Mercury's gravitational pull. Massive floods would befall coastal towns, and megatsunamis would emerge, destroying everything far inland in their path as well as causing immense flood damage to the entire world. The tsunamis that struck Fukushima on March 11, 2011, would have seemed like little waves on the beach in comparison to these enormous mountains of water. Let's go back to 28 hours before Mercury was supposed to make contact with Earth. The gravitational pull of Mercury and Earth would start to accelerate the impact. Mercury would be traveling at a pace of 60 kilometers per second, according to some models, 37 miles per second. Together with enormous lightning storms, hurricanes, and tornadoes that would be so big they wouldn't even register as categories, those megatsunamis would travel over the oceans. There would be so many strong, frequent earthquakes that nothing would remain intact. If you hadn't already fallen victim to one of the many natural calamities, you would be rapidly running out of time and options if you hadn't scheduled a spacecraft off the planet by now. Mercury would enter Earth's atmosphere and boil away along with the seas and oceans if it were still even slightly hotter than it is now. The sky above you would be entirely occupied by Mercury. Everything on the side of Earth that would be struck by the impact would be vaporized when the atmospheres of both planets compressed and produced an intensely bright glow. The remainder of Earth would see the ground turn into a sea of molten magma. The 2 planets' collision would generate so much friction that it would slow down or potentially stop the world's rotation. The speed at which the Earth rotates is approximately 1,600 kilometers per hour, 1,000 miles per hour. Everything on the planet's surface would fly eastward if the planet abruptly halted due to momentum. Imagine everything being hurled sideways at hundreds of kilometers per hour, including people, buildings, automobiles, trees, rocks, and more. High-speed winds that were still rotating as quickly as the globe before it was halted would sweep the Earth's surface clean in the aftermath. Trillions of tons of superheated rock would shoot a wall of fire in every direction as Mercury approached Earth. The shockwave would swallow the globe in less than 20 minutes. Furthermore, the Earth's inner core would melt from the inside out, leaving the surface of the globe a flaming, molten hell. The Earth would eventually fall in on itself. However, even after Earth is destroyed, the collision of the two planets will release massive molten rock pieces that will strike the other planets in the solar system. There would be no indication that a planet with sentient life ever existed. All that would be left would be a new belt of asteroids encircling the Sun. What if, however, Mercury had not struck Earth but had instead forced our planet out of its orbit and into interstellar space? Nothing positive, for sure. One of two things would happen if our planet stopped rotating around the Sun: either it would crash into the Sun or we would launch into interstellar space. It would only take 65 days for the planet to collide with our yellow dwarf star if it dropped into the Sun. The Earth would ice over in around 6 months if we floated farther away from the Sun. There would be ice covering the oceans and a sharp -200°C temperature drop. It's possible that some people will be able to live deep underground, make use of the Earth's geothermal energy, and devise a strategy to eventually depart the planet. But nowhere would be accessible. The other planets might be hurled into space or crash into the Sun if Earth were to break from its orbit. We do not wish for any of our readers to be alarmed by these models, as the likelihood of these horrible events occurring is extremely low, virtually non-existent, throughout our lifetime. This is not to argue that they are unlikely. After all, anything can enter our solar system from interstellar space at any time. One such example is the Oumuamua object, which some scientists believe to be a massive shard from a planet crash. Actually, scientists have discovered a star that is currently 64 light-years away from our solar system and is speeding toward us at around 52,000 kilometers per hour, 32,000 miles per hour. This star, known as Gliese 710, has the ability to do far more than just alter Neptune's orbit, strike Earth with Mercury, or perhaps send Earth spinning into interstellar space. Astronomers can now precisely predict when it will arrive. Nonetheless, since it will be 1.35 million years away, there is no reason to be afraid. Although that may not seem like much in cosmic terms, if humans are still on Earth at this point, we have better hope that interplanetary travel has been perfected. Gliese 710 will not strike Earth. Instead, it will travel through the Oort cloud and launch millions of smaller fragments of icy and rocky debris as well as tons of frozen comets and asteroids toward us. These ice asteroids would shower down on Earth. As previously said, none of this will occur for millions of years. However, Neptune's orbit doesn't have to be destroyed by a star for awful things to occur. As it happens, scientists have found that our solar system isn't as stable as previously believed. As everyone knows, Jupiter acts as a shield for the inner planets, absorbing large asteroids and comets with its immense gravitational pull. This was demonstrated in 1994 when Shoemaker Levy 9 broke apart, sending massive chunks of rock crashing into the gas giant. Two brand new computer simulations of the solar system and the current orbits of the planets have been produced by researchers. They discovered something unsettling when they fast-forwarded through both simulations. It turns out that Mercury could eventually be pulled off its present orbit by Jupiter's gravity. There are now two possible outcomes for Mercury: either it will strike Earth directly or it will break from its orbit and head into space. And to those who believe that we could flee to Mars and escape the mayhem, you should reconsider. In an unstable system, not even Mars would be safe, and in one simulation, Mars was thrown into the icy depths of interstellar space. Fortunately, though, we are all safe for the time being. Mercury has a mere 1% chance of leaving its orbit before our Sun becomes a red giant, swallowing Mercury, Venus, and Earth in roughly 5 billion years. It's challenging to forecast what will transpire in the solar system in the preceding billion years, nonetheless. That would take at least a billion years, even if Neptune were to slightly move or Mercury were to be yanked from its orbit by Jupiter. Numerous additional events might occur during this period, such as Jupiter ejecting a massive asteroid at Earth from the Oort cloud, similar to the dinosaur killer that struck Earth 65 million years ago, rather than shielding us from the impact. There is little doubt that humans still have time to develop into interstellar travelers and discover new planets to settle on if we wish to spread throughout the solar system. Though the future is uncertain, the solar system and Earth will not endure in their current form forever. Please let us know what you anticipate happening. Please share your thoughts in the comments section if you have any recommendations for what should be shown next. Thank you for watching, and be sure to check back here for more fascinating news about the Earth and the universe.